We told you things were not all right with the Acolyte. We told you that a season 2 would be a real boob of a mistake. Well, guess what? It turns out that all those predictions are coming true. Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, and their vision for the thread of Star Wars, well, it just might be dead. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, the place that is changing hearts and minds simply by telling the truth, dragging Disney, screaming, crawling, scratching back to the sensible center, the mainstream middle, where money is made. Joining us, as promised yesterday, Jonas J. Campbell is back at it again. Jonas, are you ready for round 2 of conversations with me and you?
I absolutely am, and I'm looking forward to finding out what the ratings on this particular episode of the WDW Pro Channel is.
Well, geez Louise, get ready because it's got to be better than the Acolyte. Here's what we've got, folks. As we get into this, click the like button. ThatParkPlace.com, the website that if you're not yet bookmarked, well, you should be. John Trent, the author here, it says, The Acolyte finale viewership 41% below Ahsoka's finale and over 50% below Andor's finale. Now, let's put this into perspective for a moment, folks. Ahsoka started off with decent ratings. That's true. And then the atrocious writing, direction, and everything Filoni about that show dropped the ratings over time, and it just fell and fell and fell. It was off the Nielsen charts by the time it got to the finale. So being 41% below that, that's impressively bad. Even worse, though, I think, Jonas, is that Andor was considered a failure. And how bad of a failure was Andor? Well, Andor season 1 was so bad of a failure that they diminished their plans for the show from being a 5-season enterprise to, hey, let's do a second season and get out so we can wrap the story and get out of here. So they condensed it down from 5 seasons to 2 because it was so bad. And The Acolyte drew half the audience of what was so bad that they literally said, we just got to finish this thing and get out of here. So this is terrible. Let's read some of the article, and I want your thoughts on it, Jonas. Data from Nielsen reveals that The Acolyte's finale viewership was 41% worse than Ahsoka's finale and over 50% less than Andor's finale. Now, folks, why did we have to wait for Nielsen this time? Because the company called Luminate, that is now competing with Nielsen and putting out their numbers far ahead of time, well, this didn't chart well enough for Luminate to even find it. So that's why we're waiting here. Nielsen reported that The Acolyte's viewership for the show's finale only hit 355 million minutes watched when it debuted on July 16th. That placed the show 10th on Nielsen's original chart, which, by the way, is a subcategory. So in its finale, Jonas, The Acolyte managed to make the 10th spot in a subcategory. This is not overall. This is just the very end. And that means that even with those who chose to wait until the end to binge watch the thing, this couldn't break into the overall at all, and it barely made the subcategory. This was a total failure. And if you'd like to see how big of a failure it is, Jonas, my understanding is Bridgerton, in that same chart that we're looking at here, Bridgerton wasn't new. Those are Bridgerton reruns. That's just the afterglow of Bridgerton versus The Acolyte with its big finale. Jonas, is it over? Like, is it over for Leslie Headland and Star Wars?
I'm going to say so. You know, what's fascinating here, first of all, we watched The Acolyte, and I think that I'm not going to say we got better viewership, but looking at the minutes watched on the live streams versus the Acolyte itself, versus what charted and what we know about the pro show Acolyte After Party, we might have actually gotten better viewership there. Okay, so a story also just came out from Tamara Morrison, who plays Boba Fett there. He says that Boba Fett's series was so unpopular that Disney is not going to be putting Boba Fett in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Now, that might be a misdirect. That might be him misinterpreting what was said to him. There could be a lot of reasons that might not end up being true. That might just be that they aren't bringing Tamara Morrison back and they're just going to have some dude in the armor standing in the background of a scene. But he said that was very specifically because, oh, and you've already got it here, of course. Sorry, didn't mean to jump ahead. No. He's saying it's because the Book of Boba Fett, which I do believe charted better than Ahsoka, and also what was this show again? The Acolyte.
That's what everybody's asking, Jonas. What was this show again? I didn't see it.
Right, and of course, Tamara Morrison is fantastic when he makes these comments. First of all, he talks about how he worked out and he got in shape because you all called me Boba Fett. You know, I love it, love it. Or the fact that he talks about how he wants to drop in and do 2 episodes of The Mandalorian because Pedro Pascal stole 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett from him. I love the way that he's just so casual and calm about all these little digs here and there. So I believe him, for one. And also, the Book of Boba Fett did a lot better than Ahsoka and did a lot better than The Acolyte.
Book of Boba Fett was also the beginning of the crash, right? Boba Fett was the first thing that came out after the Gina Carano firing. Seems to have been the first thing where Jon Favreau was clearly distracted by something. It was a dramatic drop in quality of Star Wars. Some people blame it on the director Rodriguez. Some people have blamed it on Filoni. But clearly, the entire franchise has just cratered since the Book of Boba Fett. But you're right. This was so much more popular than Ahsoka and now The Acolyte that it's ridiculous. So the idea that they're not going to go ahead with Boba Fett in any fashion, like he can't even be in the movie. And I kind of wonder, Jonas, if that's because of Mr. Morrison perhaps having his outspoken thoughts. Maybe Disney says, you know what? You're in the Gina Carano camp. We can't fire you anymore because you don't work for us, but we're not going to hire you back. And he goes out there and just puts it out publicly. Maybe he's had enough of them too.
I don't know. I never know when you have someone like Tamara Morrison, who's been in Hollywood forever. Obviously, he was in the prequels as Jango Fett, and coming in as Boba Fett was a revelation, to use a phrase that gets used as a joke here. But him showing up as Boba Fett in Mandalorian season 2 was awesome. And I don't think that they realized that he might really just be a simple man making his way through the galaxy here. I think he's a normal person who happens to be pretty cool. And I don't think that jives well with whatever is in the Kool-Aid over there at Lucasfilm.
So a washed up Boba Fett, which is what that show was. I mean, it was just a loser who used to be a bounty hunter. And now for some unknown reason, he wants to corral a gang of Vespa drivers and I don't know, rule Tatooine with a kitten glove. I don't know, but you know, that doubled the viewership, tripled the viewership of space witches pulling on threads, and you know, all of this nonsense we watched. I got to think that that's a pretty big hit on Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, and as you know, Jonas, there's been that story going around that Kathleen Kennedy is looking for a win to exit on now. Chris Gore has said, you know, that it's not a condition that she leave, but that she would like to leave on a win. And we've been careful to make that correction, I suppose, in saying this is what Chris is saying. He's not saying that she has to wait on the win, but that she really would like the win to be able to leave on. I don't see a win here. I don't see any sign that a win is on the way. And if she's waiting on the win, it's not going to come from an Acolyte season 2. I don't think it's going to come from an Andor season 2. The best chance she has, it's definitely not going to come from Skeleton Crew. The best chance she would have is to exit with the Mandalorian movie because Favreau is in charge of it. But that would mean Kathleen Kennedy is staying there and leading this thing, at least she in title is, for another 2 years. And I just don't see how Star Wars can survive. I think it's already dead. Film Threat did a funeral for the thing.
Right. And there are people who obviously jokingly cringed at what was it was satire. I'm going to put that firmly in satire, and it was fun. I did participate myself as well. The mutated 800-pound gorilla that is Kathleen Kennedy was obviously not a statement of fact. That was satire here. But they do have a point here. They keep losing their audience here. Obviously, the prequels less successful than the original. The sequels even more so controversial, more than they're enjoyed. And now this dearth of TV shows that no one seems to care about, no one seems to watch, and they are paying top dollar. They're paying more than it costs to make Star Wars on these TV shows, and they're just not hitting with the audience. So I don't understand why, other than to pretend like they're keeping the lights on over there at Lucasfilm, why they would keep spending this much money making TV that no one is interested in watching except as a matter of academia about the series at this point.
So let's run through these numbers so people can understand what we're talking about. Now it's known, who goes by Mac on X. What an awesome source of information. Mac has this to say, and this is perfect for what we need for people to understand. Each Disney Plus Star Wars show season finale draws lower viewership than the one before, not including The Mandalorian season 3 finale, but resuming with Ahsoka's. So let me rephrase this in a way that's simpler. Every Star Wars finale not under the helm of Favreau continues to drop. Every Star Wars Disney Plus show under Filoni continues to drop. Let's take a look at them. Book of Boba Fett, February 22, had 885 million minutes watched. That's still not good, because Star Wars should be pulling more than 1 billion for finales. Obi-Wan, though, in June of 22, dropped to 860 million minutes watched in its finale. Andor, in November of 2022, dropped to 674 million minutes watched. You all seen the pattern yet? Ahsoka, in October of 23, dropped to 575 million, and as we found out before, the Acolyte dropped to 335. 335. So in other words, Jonas, if they release another one, Skeleton Crew, for example, Skeleton Crew, if it continues this pattern, could be under the 300 mark. We could be looking at something that finishes on a finale, in the 100s or 200s, and it won't chart. That's where Star Wars is. People need to understand that this is the last show that is likely to chart with a finale, and this is because of Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, Dave Filoni, and the rest of the people at Lucasfilm who have elected to go with trying to transform Star Wars into something it never was, and they've destroyed not only the iconography, but the thesis that George Lucas was presenting to the world. It was highly successful. These people, full of foolishness and hubris, decided that they could take what he had made, completely change it, and that people would love it all the same because people are just that stupid. They thought they could take a Lamborghini and switch it out with the Ford Pinto and nobody would notice. That's the deal here.
Star Wars is as I often like to bring up when we talk about Star Wars is a hopeful series full of bright and shining heroes. And right now, they're getting away from those bright and shining heroes in favor of the villains. And then they've even gotten from the villains to where there are no heroes and no villains, and any villain is the system or the patriarchy or whatever you want to call it with the Acolyte here. They have taken like the universe of Star Wars and told stories that have nothing to do with the things that made Star Wars popular. And there happens to be lightsabers twirling around every now and then to try to distract people from the fact that this is essentially not Star Wars anymore.
Jonas, I want to apologize. I may have insulted Ford Pintos. This is more like a gremlin. All right. That's a good place to wrap it. Folks, please help us prevent this video from being a gremlin. Send it far and wide by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Join a community dialogue by dropping your thoughts down below. Waste not that wonderful mind of yours. Just drop a comment and we would love to read it. We still do read those, by the way. Can't read every single one of them. Often can't respond to all the stuff, but we are definitely reading and taking your feedback, and we appreciate it. Every single person, no matter the numbers, is appreciated, seen, and heard. All right, Jonas, people go check you out at That Park Place, and I know you've got tons and tons of news that should be fun over there, including coverage of Disney World and their major mistake. What do you got coming out, Jonas?
Well, of course, we will still be talking about the attempts to pour concrete into the rivers of America, pave that thing over, and put up a parking lot for Cars World over there. Also, we're going to be talking about the fact that Disney just got blocked on a new streaming service that they were trying to launch, and no one seems to be talking about this injunction that's been put forward because the judge seems to think that they will likely rule in Fubo's favor against Disney, Warner Brothers, and Fox for their $43 a month streaming service that doesn't offer any exclusive content. Go check out That Park Place and subscribe. Maybe the video might even be out right now. There's only one way to find out.
Check it out, folks, and we will check out for now, but we will see you real soon. In the meantime, folks, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.